Have you ever had an agonizing, all-consuming pain? How long did it last? A few hours? A day? What about 5 days? 5 days where you couldn't complete basic tasks because the pain was so intense it kept you from focusing. Can you imagine experiencing this at 11 years old? I couldn't until I lived it. I personally learned what migraine was while being taught a dance for summer camp. Little black and white dots started flitting across my plane of vision. I kept dancing, trying to blink them away. But then larger green, blue, and orange blobs joined the tiny dots, growing and shrinking from different points in the room and obscuring the faces and movements of the other dancers. A short while after that, the pain started, sharp and throbbing behind my eyes and at the back of my head. I remember having to sit down, being overwhelmed by this sensation. Later in the day, a teacher sat beside me and suggested the pain I was feeling was migraine. At the time, it was explained to me as a really bad headache. Let me ask you, do you know what migraine is? Because I sure didn't. I hadn't even heard of it. I have lived with chronic migraine with aura for the past 4 years. I now know that migraine isn't just bad headaches. It has a lasting impact on mine and others' lives all around the world. Migraine is not a temporary state, but a disease. It affects people in episodes called attacks that are set into motion by triggers. While attacks can be treated, it does not cure the disease. Not all bad headaches are migraine attacks. And not all migraine attacks include bad headaches. Migraine is a genetic neurologic disease with a collection of symptoms. Symptoms that can include, but are not limited to, headaches, hypersensitivity to light and sound, aura, nausea, cognitive dysfunction, and a variety of other symptoms. Migraine is categorized as a type of primary headache, meaning it is not an effect or symptom of an underlying condition. Migraine is the problem. It is the condition. Migraine is complicated, caused by a combination of genetics, the environment, and lifestyle factors. The attacks are the result of abnormal brain activity, affecting nerve signals, chemicals, and blood vessels in the brain. The pain experienced during a migraine is the result of these groups of brain cells being active, signaling to put the brain in danger or trauma response mode, resulting in the pain, meaning that a person's brain is constantly reacting as if it is being threatened. Yet, there is no threat. It is false. But the brain keeps reacting to the signals. For me, my triggers include stress and anxiety, normal things that everyone experiences. My brain just happens to be hypersensitive to these emotions, leaving me in debilitating pain. I am one of over 39 million Americans that live with migraine. 1 billion people worldwide live with migraine, none of whom, like me, had ever known or experienced how debilitating migraine was until having suffered from an attack. Migraine is the second most common global disability. Anyone can experience migraine, man, woman, child. And it doesn't matter if the attacks are episodic or chronic. The onset of migraine is life-altering. Originally, during a migraine attack, I could do nothing but stay in a cold, dark room, sleeping, listening to silence, or an audiobook, because that was all I was capable of, for days on end. I couldn't complete schoolwork. My head hurt too much. I couldn't focus. Moving was disorienting and painful. During an attack, I lose my ability to function normally. The same is true for over 90% of people who experience migraine. During an attack, they often can't live their normal life. I was not succeeding in traditional high school because of my chronic migraine attacks. I'm smart and passionate about learning, but during attacks, I wasn't learning. In between attacks, I struggled to catch up on schoolwork and do everyday activities in the time I had. I now attend an alternative high school because traditional high school was unable to help me when I fell further behind in the curriculum. And while I am grateful for that alternative high school in helping me catch up and even get ahead on my education by attending classes through the community college, it saddens me to know that there are others like me who have been failed by traditional systems. Those who have to face the heartbreaking realization that because of migraine, they might not be capable enough to do school or a job that they love because of the burden of migraine. Migraine takes a toll. It and the effects migraine has on my life largely impacted a decline in my mental health. In 2021, I was diagnosed with depression and had an increase in anxiety. I also found myself struggling with suicidal thoughts for the first time in my life. I didn't understand them, I didn't want them, but that didn't stop these thoughts from taking over like an invasive species in the ecosystem of my brain, wreaking havoc on my well-being. Mental illness is common in those who experience migraine. People with migraine are 5 times more likely to experience depression than the average person. According to surveys, over half of people with migraine are also diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. It makes sense. Migraine and depression are isolating diseases. Stress, anxiety, and migraine, they feed off each other. Stress can trigger a migraine. Experiencing a migraine attack causes stress. The prospect of missing out on life causes anxiety, and that's just because you're worried about having a migraine attack. This is why treatment is critical in helping break the cycle that migraine tends to create. If this graph represents my life in a couple of days, with the highs being the good days and the lows being the bad days where I battle migraine, finding effective treatment has changed my life to this. Through medicine and learning positive psychology to regulate my body's response to stress and pain, through using biofeedback, learned resilience, and breathing techniques, I have made significant progress in decreasing the intensity and duration of my migraine attacks. Small changes over time make a big difference. One change for me that really made a big difference was the positive effects of spending time with animals. Animals are scientifically proven to decrease cortisol, the hormone attributed to playing a critical role in creating stress, anxiety, and depression. Petting a dog, taking the time to do that, releases serotonin, the hormone attributed to creating happiness. Spending time with animals and horses through volunteering has helped me find a way to regulate and process my emotions. When I spend time with horses, I am forced to focus on the moment, and I feel better during it. Animals can serve as a lifeline for people with disabilities, mental illness, or even just people going through tough times. They offer us support and solidarity that we can all benefit from. I have found confidence and comfort in spending time with animals. By taking care of them, they take care of you. I have made significant progress in learning how to live a fulfilling life with migraine, and animals are largely the reason why. Loving them has given me a greater meaning and deeper purpose to life. And while there are still bad days where I need to lay down in a dark room, I have my dog snuggling with me. And those days aren't as common as they once were. I also now have an abundance of skills to help me come out of those bad days. If you live with migraine, mental illness, or simply stress, I want you to know you are not alone. With the right approach and a little help finding a new perspective, it can get better.